All right, so let's take a look here at how to actually do pagination with the AWS CLI. So I'm over here at the command reference. And if we go into here, you'll notice that there's an option to have no paginate, and you can apply this basically to all commands. Basically, all commands do pagination, but they don't always necessarily give you all of these parameters. It depends if you're working with a low-level or high-level API. So for instance, if we go over to S3, which is a high-level one, and we go into something like LS, we do have page size, but we don't have max items, we don't have starting token. So it still does pagination, but it's a little bit more limited. But if we were to go into S3 API, which is a low-level CLI command, and we go over into, what is it called? List objects, we should get all of the parameters or flags that we would like to work with, these three here. So let's go put this into practice. I'm going to want to use something that actually will have something we can paginate without us having to create a bucket and fill it with stuff, because I'm kind of getting tired of doing that. So let's take a look at maybe subnets, as we should be able to list out a bunch of subnets. So there's a describe command for subnets, and so that will return back subnets. So it's very straightforward. I'm going to go back over to the CLI. I'm actually going to switch over to US East 1 because I know that one has a bunch of subnets, and I want to get enough back. And I'm going to go ahead and open up Cloud Shell. Okay. Now, Cloud Shell, I might have activated previously auto prompt, but if it's not, we'll find out here in just a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and type in AWS. And I'm waiting to see if auto prompt shows up. It does not. So I'm going to go ahead and type in AWS CLI auto prompt. And you know what I was just thinking is that it'd be really smart if the wizard allows you to set auto prompt. I'm really curious if it can do that, because I'm really getting tired of looking up the that option there. Additional CLI parameters. Oh, that was nothing. That didn't help at all. Okay, but anyways, if you're listening, create a wizard to set the auto prompt, because that would be super nice. So I can just look up the nvar here because I don't remember what it is. And the value is this one here. So go back over to here and we'll say export. And we'll say on partial. So now if I type AWS, I get the prompt. Perfect. So we'll type in EC2. And then I want to get describe subnets. Let's take a look at its output. I'm hitting F5 for output. Okay, and I'm going to navigate down to this screen by clicking on F2 or pressing F2. And I'm using J to go down, or maybe K to go down. I always forget which way it is. And it is not using J or K. I'm actually using the arrow keys. That's interesting, because normally it will use the Vim keys, but that's totally fine if it doesn't. But notice down below here we have next token. So if there is a next token, it's going to appear down below, but we have the subnets above. I'm going to go ahead and just go back up to the other panel by hitting F2 on my keyboard. And so what we can do is just query this and just get the subnets. So I'm going to go here and say subnets, square braces, and then subnet ID. Okay, and then we'll hit enter. And we can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 subnets. So let's go back and hit up on our keyboard and go to AWS. And we can pull up previous commands. They don't appear outside of this, but if we hit Control R, we can get our previous commands here. And I'm just going to go and hit tab, or yeah, there we go, to bring that back. And so now what we can do is we can say, let's return fewer items. So if I go here and say max items, I can say, give me only 1. Okay, and we'll return 1. We also have the other option, which is for page size. And this one's a little bit confusing, but what it does is, trying to get to our previous one here. Here, there we go. What page size does is it will call AWS based on the size of documents you want back. So it will still return everything, but it will say, okay, chunk this in the size you want. So if I say 1, then it'll make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 API calls, and then stitch the data together and return it back to me. So if I hit enter, it says I can't do that because that is a minimum value of 5. So different CLI commands are going to have different minimum and maximums for these things. but we'll go ahead and hit enter on AWS. I'm gonna hit Control R. I'm gonna go back to page size. I'm gonna just change this to 5. And notice it's still returning all of the data, but underneath it's calling 5 of these and then 2 of these, okay? And the reason you might want to do that is if you have a lot of data, it might just not work because one of them fails, right? So by doing this, you're going to have less issues, but it is making more API calls, so you have to make that trade for what you want there. And some CLI commands are basically, it's the cost per request. So not all services, but some of them, pagination could cost you more, but you're more reliably to get your information. Let's go ahead and type in AWS again here. And I'm going to hit Control R. And what I want to look at is the max items again. So we have 1. But the difference here is that what I want to do is I actually want to get the next item. So I'm going to just go ahead and hit enter. And let's make note that this is the one that is currently here. Just so we don't lose it, I'm just going to paste it up here. And so this is number 1. So I want to get number 2. And the way we can do that is go back here, hit Control R, and I'm going to go back to max items. But this time, I'm actually going to query for the other thing here, which is the next, I think it was next token. And if we hit enter, it returns us the next token. And so I can use this token in our next command to get the next item. So if I go here, I'm going to type in starting token. And then we'll go ahead and copy this. I'm just going to right-click copy, right-click paste, and then hit enter. And so notice that we should get the next item. Well, we got the next token. It has to do with our query. So I'll go back and try that again one more time. And I want to go here. That's fine, I suppose. I don't know if once we use a token, if we can use it again. But we'll try here. And I'm just going to do subnets. Square period subnet ID. Hit enter. Okay, and so notice that this is this one and this is the next one. So let's just take a look and see all of them and just make sure we can confirm that's the order. So we'll go here and we'll go back down to this one here. Okay, and so this was the first one, so that matches up, and that was the second one. And so there you go, that is pagination. So, yep, we'll see you in the next one, okay? Ciao.